Hello, Oral Production. This is our weekly feedback video. So today I'll talk about some food proverbs from the cooking exercise that you had to do, as well as some key concepts from the shopping and sales exercises that you worked on. So first, I'll just talk about some proverbs from the food worksheet. So, to eat is a necessity, but to eat intelligently is an art. That's a quote. So let's talk about all of these and figure out what they mean. So for that first one that I just mentioned, they're saying that we eat because it's a biological necessity, but to eat intelligently is an art. They're comparing it to an art because art requires creativity, planning, thought, any combination of those. So that's why eating well, eating healthy, eating balanced diets, that's an art because it requires some or all of those things. Now let's move on to another one. The discovery of a new dish does more for human happiness than the discovery of a new star. So let's think about that quote right there. So they're saying that discovering a new dish or new way to cook food is more beneficial to human happiness as a whole than the discovery of a new star or some other type of scientific discovery. So really what they're saying is the average person can appreciate different types of cooking and different types of food more than scientific breakthroughs, and I agree with that. They're both important nonetheless, though. So let's move on to a third proverb that I thought was important. When diet is wrong, medicine is of no use. When diet is correct, medicine is of no need. So they're saying if your diet is wrong, that medicine will only do so much to help you. And if your diet is correct, you won't need medicine in the first place. So that one's pretty straightforward, but I like the message and I thought it was worth mentioning here. Now, a fourth one is hunger is the best sauce in the world. So what are they saying there? So when you're hungry, they're suggesting that you're inspired, that you become more creative as a cook, and that's going to allow you to create a better sauce, figuratively speaking, for your food. So in other words, being hungry is going to inspire you to cook better or more creatively. So moving on, cooking is like love. It should be entered into with abandon or not at all. So that's saying that if you're going to cook, you really need to be dedicated to what you're doing. You need to commit to producing the best quality food that you can possibly make, or don't even bother. It's kind of like an all or nothing approach, is what they're suggesting through that proverb. Now, one final proverb that I would like to discuss here goes as follows. One cannot think well, love well, sleep well if one has not dined well. So that's saying that eating well is the foundation of everything in your life and your ability to do other things. So you can't think well, you can't learn, you can't do your job well, you can't love your family and friends, you can't sleep well, you can't do any of those things well if you haven't eaten well. That's what they're suggesting. And I think there's a good message behind that one. So, other than that, it was just a matter of filling out the worksheet and completing the exercises with your own thoughts and opinions. But those proverbs were worth discussing. That said, I'm going to move on to the second worksheet from this past week, which is about sales and shopping. So, just some things I want to point out. Senses. So, when you go to a store, any kind of store, they appeal to your five senses because our senses tempt us to buy things, and when you buy things, they make money. That's what they want. So, an example of that is if you ever go to the mall and they're offering free samples of perfume as you walk by, that's one example. Your sense of smell. So they think that by allowing you to smell the perfume, you might want to buy it right then and there impulsively. Another example is if you go to Costco and you walk by certain areas, they will offer you free samples. That is appealing to your sense of taste. But the logic and the idea behind that type of, that sales tactic, I should say, is the same between those two. Another thing is that stores often feature slower background music so that you feel more relaxed and you're more tempted to spend more time there, which means that you're more likely to buy extra things beyond what you originally wanted to buy, which means you'll spend more money, and that's good for them. Interesting point though, I have noticed, at least in my experience, I don't know about you as a class, that some stores do play faster music, which seems to go against what they said in the worksheet. So maybe there are exceptions to that. Another thing is framing, how they frame the prices. So you could either say that something is $4.99 or it's $4.99 or $5. The difference is 1 cent. But the idea is that if they set the price at $4.99, they think that your brain is going to round down to four, and you're going to say, "Oh, it's $4. That's fine," instead of the five, which it's practically the same thing. So another thing is just how they frame the prices. Also, fitting rooms. If you go to a store or a place that sells clothes, they typically put the fitting rooms at the back of the store because that means that on your way to those fitting rooms, you will have to walk by more products on the way and you'll be more tempted to buy those products as you pass them. Again, increasing revenue for the store and causing you to spend more money, which is good for them. Also, sales and discounts. Some stores will say that you save money by buying this product right now, or that it's on sale, or etc., etc. But think logically. In the first place, you're not required to buy that. You never had to spend that money. So you're not saving money, you're actually spending money. But they make it sound like you're getting a great deal and you should buy now. So it's another trick that they'll try to use on you at the store. Now, checkout counters. I think we've all done this. As you're standing in line to pay for whatever you bought at the store, a lot of the checkout counters will feature small bags of candy, little gadgets, small purchases like that. And the idea is that while you're waiting in line, you will want to treat yourself with those goods. So that's another possibility. And getting lost. So if you've ever gotten lost in a large store, for example, one time I got lost at Sears, that's intentional. A lot of the department stores like that will design the store to be confusing so that you get lost because, again, as you are lost and you walk around the store, you are more likely to walk past extra items that you might want to buy impulsively that you wouldn't have purchased in the first place necessarily. Also, there is the tactic of double deals where they'll put complementary goods next to each other. For example, coffee and sugar next to each other, or bread and peanut butter, or cheese and meat. Things like that most of the time you're going to buy together because you're going to use them for a purpose. Or like sponges and dish soap, you get the idea. So they'll put complementary deals next to each other so that when you buy one, even if you didn't need the other, you'll say, "Oh, well, I have to buy that one too. I have to have the set." And again, you're spending more money, which is good for the store. Now, another thing, the location of items. Many stores will have shelves where they'll have many levels. The most expensive items, if you pay attention, oftentimes are at eye level because those are the first ones you're going to see. So they'll put the less expensive items at the top or at the bottom and the most expensive items right in the middle so you'll go directly to them. That's another tactic. All right, so those were the key concepts or the key points from this week's activities that I wanted to talk about with you. That being said, I will see you all in next week's video.